from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. This is the National News Broadcast coming to you live from the Rupavahini studios. I'm Shara Mascrinius.
I'm Clifford Richards. First of all, we take a look at the headlines.
Sino-China fuel agreement was signed. The headline inflation further declines. The president leaves the country for official tours of Singapore and Japan. Tuition classes for O-level examinations will be banned from tomorrow. Fertilizer vouchers are distributed among the farmers. The Dengue control unit informed the public to consult a doctor in case of fever for over 2 days. SpaceX sends Saudi astronauts, including first Arab woman, to the International Space Station.
Moving on to the stories in detail, marking a crucial step in ensuring a steady and also an uninterrupted fuel supply for the nation. A contract agreement was signed today, and that was with the leading international petroleum company, which is Sinopec.
Now, this agreement signing ceremony was presided over by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Secretary of the Ministry of Power and Energy, MPDUK Mapa Pathirana, and Managing Director of the Field Production and Marketing Department of Sinopec Company, Cheng Cheng-ming, signed the agreement in front of the President. In response to the ongoing foreign exchange crisis in Sri Lanka, the Ministry of Power and Energy has taken this decisive action to ensure an uninterrupted fuel supply to consumers. With the inability to provide sufficient foreign exchange for fuel shipments, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and the Lanka Indian Oil Company face significant challenges. To tackle this issue, the ministry explored various strategies, and one of them involved inviting expression of interest from reputable petroleum companies established in producing countries. The goal was to import, store, distribute and sell petroleum products in predetermined distribution dealer-operated networks in Sri Lanka. The Cabinet of Ministers approved this initiative. The Cabinet appointed a special committee, and the Technical Evaluation Committee thoroughly scrutinized the proposals and recommended awarding contracts to several companies. These companies include MS Sinopec Fuel Oil Lanka Private Limited, United Petroleum Private Limited Australia, and the RM Parks USA in collaboration with Shell plc. Sinopec, along with its affiliated companies, is set to commence operations in Sri Lanka within 45 days following the issuance of the license. This development brings hope for a more stable and reliable fuel supply, boosting the country's energy sector and providing assurance to consumers.
Well, the headline inflation in April has declined compared to the month of March. It is stated in a report monthly issued by the Department of Census and also Statistics. Accordingly, 49.2% inflation in March has gone down up to 33.6% in April. Food-related inflation in March was 42.3%. It has decreased up to 27.1% in April. Inflation on non-food category was 54.9% in March and decreased to 39% in April. Well, the distribution of vouchers among farmers to purchase fertilizer started today.
A voucher amounting to 20,000 rupees will be given per hectare, and 650,000 farmers are to be provided with vouchers. The government has allocated 10 billion rupees for the subsidy. Accordingly, farmers are able to purchase chemical or organic fertilizer from the Agrarian Services Centre or private traders. The aim of this voucher system is to minimize the cost of farmers who cultivate paddy in the Yala season. The Agrarian Development Department distributes these vouchers. The official distribution of the vouchers was initiated by Minister Mahindam Ravira at the Ministry of Agriculture. Minister Mahinda Amravira said that there is a price increase of urea fertilizer at the market at present. However, the government provides 50 kilograms of bags of urea at 10,000 rupees. Another vessel carrying urea will arrive in the island in 2 weeks. In addition, 50 kilogram barley fertilizer bag is sold at 50,000 rupees. It is about 19,500 rupees at the local market. The government has placed trust on the farmers and provide relief as much as possible to encourage them to provide sufficient stocks of paddy harvest.
Word of caution with regard to dengue. The National Dengue Control Unit informs the public to consult a physician and to get a blood test in case of having a fever for over 2 days. The dengue fever is rapidly spreading these days. 35,931 dengue cases have been reported in this year so far, and out of them 23 have succumbed to the disease. Well, Gampaha is the most vulnerable district for the dengue menace in the Western Province. Over 8,000 cases have been reported in this district. There are 7,500 dengue cases reported in Colombo district and also 2,000 from the Kalutara district. Health authorities say that over 2,400 dengue patients have been reported from Puttalam district as well. Accordingly, Special Dengue Control Week has been implemented in the Northwestern Province from today.
The Department of Examination informed that conducting tuition classes for the GCE O-level exam will be banned with effect from midnight tomorrow. The exam is to be held from the 29th of this month to the 8th of June at 3,568 centres island-wide. Accordingly, conducting of tuition classes, lectures, seminars and workshops targeting the O-level exam will be prohibited. Printing and distribution of prototype question papers, handbills and publishing over electric and printed media will also be banned. Persons who violate these regulations are liable to be prosecuted.
Well, President Ranil Wickremesinghe is set to depart the island tomorrow morning for an official visit to Singapore and also Japan. Well, while in Singapore, the President will meet the Singaporean Minister of Law and Home Affairs, K. Shanmugam, along with high-ranking diplomats. The President's visit to Japan, scheduled from May 24th to 27th, will include discussions with Prime Minister Fumio Kishida on strengthening bilateral relations and addressing regional and international matters. Additionally, meetings are planned with Japanese Foreign Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi, Finance Minister Sunichi Suzuki, and Digital Transformation Minister Taro Kono. The President will also address the Nikkei Forum that's the 28th Future of Asia Conference in Tokyo, May 25th and 26th. This international conference convenes leaders to discuss political, economic and regional issues in the Asia-Pacific region. The President will engage in the Japan-Sri Lanka Business Cooperation Council, the Japan-Sri Lanka Parliamentary Friendship Association and the Sri Lanka Chamber of Commerce in Japan. The visit aims to strengthen cooperation and foster friendly relations between the two countries. The President will be accompanied by Professor Maitri Wickremesinghe, Senior Advisor to the President and Chief of the Presidential Staff, Sagalu Ratnayaka, along with high-level delegation.
A new political party titled United Republic Front was launched today under the patronage of Parliamentarian Partili Champika Ranawaka. The new party launching ceremony was held at the National Youth Services Council premises in Maharagama. The party's policy manifesto was declared and the office bearers of the new party were announced at this occasion. The leader of the United Republic Front, Parliamentarian Partili Champika Ranawaka, said that all factions of the society should join hands to build up the country, casting their political differences away. With the implementation of a new party, we all can overcome this crisis within 3 years. Parliamentarian Partili Champika Ranawaka appealed to the public to extend support to the new party to develop the country as a new republic.
The Election Commission says that the decision to accept Mahinda Amravira or Tilanga Sumatipala as the General Secretary of the UPFA was suspended temporarily. The Elections Commission further says that this decision is effective until the court case going on this connection is completed. Mahinda Amravira has inquired from the Election Commission regarding the post of the General Secretary of the United People's Freedom Alliance, issuing a letter to Mahinda Amravira. The Elections Commission has said that the decision was taken until the relevant court case is over. Mahinda Amravira has filed a case against the UPFA in appointing Tilanga Sumatipala as the General Secretary. Well, a new Bhikkhu collective says that the controversial Pastor Jerome should be taken into custody on arrival at the airport.
They stated this matter when they arrived at the Department of Buddhist Affairs today to lodge a complaint and to hand over a letter. The new Bhikkhu collective handed over a letter to the Department of Buddhist Affairs demanding to make Dhamma education compulsory. They pointed out that through Dhamma education in all religious places, the children and young generation can be directed to the right path. Meanwhile, Minister Tiran Alas expressed views on Pastor Jerome at a press briefing held today. He said that the law enforcing authorities cannot be stopped and the investigations, although he had apologized on this matter. However, there are many complaints received by the CID against him. Therefore, the CID will conduct a thorough investigation in all these matters and reveal the truth. Anyway, he will be arrested on arrival to the country at the airport. Today is International Day of Biological Diversity. The United Nations has declared this day to increase the understanding and awareness of problems pertaining to the world biodiversity.
Well, biological diversity means the existing of diversity among animals and plants. It is essential to protect biological diversity for the well-being of the functioning of nature. There's a risk of losing 10% of current biodiversity by 2050 due to various reasons. The theme of this year's is to the agreement to action. There is globally agreed action plan to protect biodiversity. Special attention has also been focused on this day to implement the action plans by 2030. The Global Summit on Biological Diversity was held last year with the participation of around 200 countries. The United Nations has made an agreement to stop damages to biodiversity by the year 2030. Sri Lanka is a leading country rich with biological diversity. It has been rather declined due to the decrease of forests in Sri Lanka. The International Biodiversity Day was marked in many countries in the world. The main ceremony in Sri Lanka was held at the Tumbikolama irrigation tank premises in Habarana. About 3,500 finagling of rare species that is under threat of extinction were released to the Tumbikolama tank today. Secretary to the Minister of Environment, Dr. Anil Jasinger, and several others participated in this program.
A petition filed by Minister Bandula Gunawardena and several others requesting to conduct an investigation into the attacks to the houses and properties of parliamentarians and politicians carried out by mobs on the 9th of May last year was withdrawn today. The petition has been filed at the Court of Appeals. Appearing for the Minister of Public Defence, Deputy Solicitor General stated that her client has promised to conduct an investigation into the incident. Then the petitioners has said that they are satisfied with the decision and the relevant petition would be withdrawn. President's Counsel Faisal Mustafa, appearing for the respondent, Chief of Defence Staff Shavindra Silva, staged an objection for this decision. However, the panel of judges headed by the President of the Appeals Court, Nishanka Bandula Karunaratne, granted leave to withdraw the petition. 39 politicians who had been affected by the mob violence in the 9th of May last year had filed this petition. The Supreme Court has postponed indefinitely, declaring the decision whether to consider the petitions filed against the Secretary of the Finance Ministry, Mahinda Siriwardena. The petitions have been filed under the charges of the failure to implement a court decision with regard to holding the local government polls and contempt of court. Five-member panel of the Supreme Court judges that considered the petitions today postponed the decision to continue it without a date. The petitioners were General Secretary of the SJB parliamentarian Ranjit Mantuma Bandara and NPP parliamentarian Vijitha Herath.
The University Teachers Association says that the discussion held with the University Grants Commission in fact was positive and very successful. The discussion was held at the University Grants Commission. University Teachers Association recently held a discussion with The relevant president and their problems were addressed. Later, the relevant officials were informed to provide solutions for the problems faced by the university teachers. Accordingly, Chairman of the UGC, Professor Sampath Amaratunga, and members of the University Teachers Association held a discussion in this connection. Meanwhile, at a media briefing today, Minister Tiranalis elaborated on the discussion he held recently with vice-chancellors and the 3 universities and the IGP. Minister said that the government listens to the university teachers regarding the problems they have faced at present. Attention was also focused on the matter that some groups exploit the resources and the university premises to organize violent protests. Sometimes there is no proper security for university teachers as well. Therefore, he agreed to beef up security in universities. We also requested the university teachers not to allow students to use hostels and university premises to organize violent activities. Well, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena questioned the Western Province Cooperative officers whether it is fair to auction off the property that the members have sustained for a long time without taking necessary measures to recover the cooperative system when it fails.
He mentioned this in a discussion regarding the problems faced by the cooperative societies in Colombo, Gampa and Kalathura districts of the Western Province and providing prompt solutions to those issues at Temple Trees today. The Prime Minister informed the Western Province Governor as well as the relevant officials that when there is an economic crisis in the country, the government officials should act according to finding remedies and the preliminary draft which is not strong enough. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena pointed out that the cooperative movement does a great service to provide relief to the public in times of crisis in the country. The 14th ASEAN Regional Forum Intersessional Meeting on Non-Proliferation and Disarmament was held in Colombo recently. The meeting was hosted by Sri Lanka and the co-chaired with Thailand and the United States of America. The ASEAN Regional Forum meeting brought together officials from the Ministries of Foreign Affairs, Defence and Trade of 17 ASEAN Regional Forum participation countries in person, with 5 participant countries taking part virtually. The meeting was chaired by Director General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Satya Rodrigo. Director General Rodrigo noted that Sri Lanka's role in making the first calls for a special session of disarmament in 1975 and Sri Lanka's continued contribution to disarmament in regional and international fora. Director of the National Centre for Non-Destructive Testing of the Sri Lanka Atomic Energy Board, Anuradh Jayatilaka, delivered a presentation on the role of non-destructive testing and its applications for the manufacturing and construction industries. Sri Lanka has been a member of the ASEAN Regional Forum since 2007. The ASEAN Regional Forum is an ASEAN-led mechanism for security dialogue in the Asia-Pacific region.
Minister Bandula Gunawardena says that media without fellow feelings is not supportive for social development. The minister made this comment addressing the 7th anniversary celebrations of the Asian Media and Culture Association. Well, this function was held at the Russian Center in Colombo. A floral tribute was also made to the founder of the Asian Media Cultural Association, senior journalist, the late Vasantha Priya Ramanayaka, at this occasion. Many veteran journalists, artists and literary personnel have become members of the association. Ministers, parliamentarians and several others participated at this occasion. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that journalists in Sri Lanka have no proper opportunities to have wider media education in the country. Many journalists in the country are not graduates. There are creative journalists with many skills. However, they are unable to continue higher education in universities due to the Z-score problem at the GCE A-level examination. Therefore, the government has focused attention to establish a world-recognized institution to train journalists.
Here's more local news in brief. A discussion was held at the Ministry of Finance in connection with providing facilities to people in the estate areas. Many families in the estate sector have not been able to apply for welfare benefits given by the government. State Minister Shayan Semasinga said that welfare benefits will be paid in a transparent manner. Foreign ministries in Saudi Arabia and Sri Lanka signed a memorandum of understanding regarding political counselling in Riyadh. State Minister State Minister Taraka Balasuriya, Saudi Deputy Foreign Minister Walid Al signed the agreement. Professor of Peradeniya University, the Venerable Muatagama Nyana Thera have conferred with the honorary title Agama Pandita by the state of Myanmar. A felicitation ceremony in this connection was held at the Viharia premises. Colombo District Development Lotteries Board Sales Agents meeting was held yesterday. Chairman of the board, Ajit Naragala, distributed prizes and certificates to the best sales agents of the Colombo district at the ceremony. An anti-corruption unit has raided a mobile prostitution centre and arrested 3 males and 4 females as suspects. Owner of the centre, the main suspect, is a 29-year-old male and resident of Moratuwa area. Well, that's a look at local news. Stay with us. We bring you stories about the first Arab woman who flies on a rocket.
Welcome back, and it's to the international story. Yes, a lady in a rocket. The private rocket carrying the first Arab woman astronaut has blasted off on a mission to the International Space Station.
A breast cancer researcher from Saudi Arabia, Rehana Barnawi, joined on the mission along with fellow Saudi Ali Al-Khani, a fighter pilot. The pair are the first Saudi astronauts to voyage into space in decades, since the Saudi prince travelled on board the Space Shuttle Discovery in 1985. They took off on board a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from Kennedy Space Center at Cape Canaveral in the southern United States yesterday. The team also includes a former NASA astronaut, Peggy Whitson, who will be making her 4th flight to the ISS, and John Schaffner, a businessman from Tennessee who is serving as a pilot. The 4 should reach the space station in their capsule today and will spend over a week at the station before returning home with a splashdown off the coast of the southern U.S. state of Florida. The mission is the second private flight to the space station organized by Houston-based Axiom Space.
State separation confirmed.
Well, Greece's Conservative Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis won the national elections, hailing his party's victory as a political earthquake. Well, his centre-right New Democracy Party was heading for almost 41% of the vote, 5 seats short of a majority. His centre-left rival congratulated him, and his Syria party is set for a poor result of 20%. The Prime Minister Mitsotakis said the results show that Greeks have given him the party and also a mandate for a 4-year government. The Prime Minister Mitsotakis' party won 146 seats, 5 seats short of the 151 required for a majority. The centre-right has governed Greece for the past 4 years and can boast that the country's growth last year was close to 6%. With the coalition talks in hand, the foreign media has reported that when Syria's socialist rival PASOK would be a potential partner as one of the election's big winners, with 11.5% of the vote for the Conservative Party to secure a majority in Parliament. Other than PASOK, the Community or the Communist Party has also increased their share of the vote.
The entrenched U.S. debt problem has once again drawn global attention as U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen recently warned that the U.S. government could default as early as June 1st, failing to address the debt ceiling issue. Without timely action by the Congress, the U.S. government would be unable to pay its bills, which would potentially affect the U.S. economy and the global financial stability. In January, the country hit its current $31.4 trillion debt limit. This year, the government debt has already passed the $31.4 trillion ceiling, with many describing the U.S. debt issue as growing wildly as things appear increasingly out of control. The original intention of setting such a debt ceiling was to avoid excessive spending by keeping a government's balances in check. However, in recent times, it has been reduced to a tool of partnership between the two main political parties, with repeated government shutdowns being experienced due to budgetary disputes and political squabbling.
Well, Facebook owner Meta has been fined a record 1.2 billion euros in order to suspend the transfer of data from Facebook users in the European Union to the United States. Well, the fine imposed by Ireland's Data Protection Commission, which regulates Meta across the EU, is a record for a breach of the bloc's general data protection regulation. The suspension of Facebook data transfers is not immediate, and Meta has been given 5 months to enact it. European Union General Data Protection Regulatory Privacy Law requires companies to seek people's consent before using their personal data. Meta says an appeal will be made against the unjustified and unnecessary ruling. At the crux of this decision is the use of standard contractual clauses to move European Union data to the United States. The DPC punishment relates to the legal challenge brought by Austrian privacy campaigner over concerns resulting from the Edward Snowden's revelations that the European users' data is not sufficiently protected from the US intelligence agencies when it is transferred across the Atlantic. Well, Tesla has shared new footage of Optimus. Now, who's Optimus? The humanoid robot. The footage include 5 Tesla Optimus prototypes, which were seen performing simple tasks. Well, it has been 2 years since Elon Musk officially unveiled plans for the Tesla bot, a humanoid robot designed to perform general tasks for humans. In a video presented during the most recent shareholder meeting event, Musk shows off how far the robot can come. And 5 prototype bots shows and also shown are functional, pictured picking up and also rotating objects, slowly waking in various environments.
Kutumi, Fantamai.
Let's begin with sports news, and the new office bearers assume duties today and their term ends in the year 2025.
New chairman of the Sri Lanka Cricket is Shammi Silva. He was elected for this post for the 3rd term. Mohan De Silva was elected as the new secretary to the Sri Lanka Cricket. Ravin Wickramaratne and Jayantha Dharmadasa are vice chairman. It is significant that these office bearers were elected unanimously. Men and women badminton games of the National Sports Festival were held at the Colombo Torrington Badminton Grounds yesterday. Southern Province became the champion of the men's sector, while the Western Province became champion in the women's sector. Buwaneka Gunathilaka of the Southern Province was honoured as the best player of the tournament. L.R. Tinidu of the Southern Province was the best women's player.
Kutumi, Fantamai.
That's it. That's a look at Rupavahini News for tonight. Thanks a lot for joining us. Do take care.
அதிர்ஷ்டத்தை பற்றி அதிகமாக நினைக்கும் நீங்களும் அதிர்ஷ்டத்தை அதிகமாக வாரி வழங்கும் நாங்களும் சந்திக்கும் மற்றொரு டிஎல்பி லாட்டரி ஷோவின் வாயிலாக சந்திப்பதில் மிகுந்த மகிழ்ச்சி அடைகின்றோம். இன்றைய நாளிலும் உங்கள் அபிமானத்துக்குரிய 6 சீட்டெழுப்புகள் மற்றும் ஏராளமான பணப்பரிசுகள் உங்களுக்காகவே காத்திருக்கின்றன. இவற்றை பார்வையிடுவதற்கு முன்னராக விசேடமான ஞாபகப்படுத்தல்களை உங்களுக்காக நாங்கள் வழங்கப் போகின்றோம். முதலாவது விடயம்தான் இம்மாதம் 30ஆம் தேதி உங்களுக்காக காத்திருக்கின்றது ஷனிதாவின் வின் கேஷ் விசேட சீட்டெழுப்பு. இந்த சீட்டெழுப்பின் மூலமாக வழமையான பணப்பரிசுகளுக்கு மேலதிகமாக 1 லட்சம் ரூபாய் 50,000 ரூபாய் பணப்பரிசுகளை நீங்கள் ஏராளமாக வெல்லலாம். லொத்த டிக்கெட்டின் கொள்விலை 20 ரூபாய் மாத்திரமே. எனவே அதிகமாக ஷனிதாவின் வின் கேஷ் விசேட சீட்டெழுப்புக்கான லொத்த டிக்கெட்டுகளை கொள்ளுநர் செய்து உங்களுக்குரிய அதிர்ஷ்ட வாய்ப்புகளை அதிகரித்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். இது மாத்திரமன்றி லொத்த டிக்கெட்டின் கொள்வனவு முறையினை மிகவும் இலகுபடுத்தி தந்திருக்கிறோம் உங்களுக்காக. நீங்கள் செய்ய வேண்டியது வார நாட்களில் அலுவலக வேலைகளில் இந்த தொலைபேசி இலக்கங்களுக்கு அழைப்பினை ஏற்படுத்தி ஒரே தடவையில் 50 அல்லது 50க்கு மேற்பட்ட எண்ணிக்கையிலான லொத்த டிக்கெட்டுகளை கொள்வனவு செய்ய முடியும். அவற்றை நீங்கள் இருக்கும் இடத்திற்கே கொண்டு வந்து தருவதற்கும் நாங்கள் தயாராக இருக்கிறோம். தொலைபேசி இலக்கங்களை ஞாபகப்படுத்துகின்றேன். 0114062002 0114062065 0114824801 இறுதியாக 0114824802 4 தொலைபேசி இலக்கங்கள் இருக்கின்றன. இந்த தொலைபேசி இலக்கங்களின் வாயிலாக நீங்கள் கொள்ளுனை மேற்கொள்ளும் உங்களில் அதிர்ஷ்டசாலிகள் 10 பேரை வாராந்தம் குலுக்கல் முறையில் தெரிவு செய்து பரிசில்களையும் நீங்கள் இருக்கும் இடத்திற்கே கொண்டு வந்து தருவதற்கும் நாங்கள் தயாராக இருக்கிறோம். எனவே இத்தனை அதிகரித்த அதிர்ஷ்ட வாய்ப்புகள் உங்களுக்காக காத்திருக்கின்றன. அதிர்ஷ்ட வாய்ப்புகளை தக்க முறையில் பயன்படுத்திக் கொள்ளுங்கள். இன்றைய நாளுக்குரிய 6 சீட்டெழுப்புகளுமே சற்று முன்னர் தேசிய தொலைக்காட்சியின் 1ஆம் இலக்க கழகத்தில் நடுவர் மூவரின் மேற்பார்வைக்கு சீட்டெழுக்கப்பட்டு ஒளிப்பதிவு செய்யப்பட்டிருந்தது. இந்த சீட்டெழுப்புகளை ஒரே பார்வையில் ஒன்றின் பின் ஒன்றாக இப்பொழுது பார்க்கலாம். இது உங்கள் அபிமானத்திற்குரிய டிஎல்பி லாட்டரி ஷோ. இன்றைய சீட்டெழுப்புகளுக்கு நடுவர்களாக கடமையாற்றியவர்கள் நகர அபிவிருத்தி அதிகார சபையின் பிரதி பணிப்பாளர் நாயகம் திரு WAS சுமனசூரிய, தகவல் தொழில்நுட்ப முகாமைத்துவ திணைக்களத்தின் தகவல் தொழில்நுட்ப பிரிவின் உதவி பணிப்பாளர் திரு டிஷான் ஷிராந்த, தேசிய கணக்காய்வு அலுவலகத்தின் கணக்காய்வு உத்தியோகத்தர் திருமதி KGRWK விஜயபண்டார.
இன்றைய தினமும் ஏராளமான கோடீஸ்வர வரங்களோடு உங்களின் கோடீஸ்வர கனவினை நிறைவேற்றுவதற்கு நாம் தயார். இது அத கோடிபதி சீட்டெழுப்பு. இன்றைய தினம் நாம் உங்களை சந்திப்பது அத கோடிபதியின் வெற்றிகரமான 1922வது சீட்டெழுப்பு வாரத்தின் ஊடாக. இன்றைய தினம் அத கோடிபதி சீட்டெழுப்பினூடாக நீங்கள் வெல்லக்கூடிய சூப்பர் ஜாக்பாட் பணப்பரிசின் பெறுமதியை முதலில் பார்த்து விடலாம். 5,11,20,935 ரூபாய். அது மாத்திரமல்ல, இன்றைய தினமும் இதர பணப்பரிசில்கள் உங்களுக்காகவே காத்திருக்கின்றன. சற்று முன்னர் நடுவர் குழுவின் முன்னிலையில் இடம்பெற்றிருந்த அத கோடிபதி சீட்டெழுப்பினை நாம் இப்பொழுது பார்க்கலாம். முதலாவது இயந்திரத்தினூடாக இன்றைய சீட்டெழுப்புக்கான வெற்றி இலக்கங்கள் ஒன்றன் பின் ஒன்றாக தெரிவு செய்யப்படுகின்றன. ஆமாம், இன்றைய தினம் தெரிவு செய்யப்பட்டுள்ள முதலாவது வெற்றி இலக்கம் 51. தொடர்ந்து இன்றைய சீட்டெழுப்புக்கான இரண்டாவது வெற்றி இலக்கத்தினை பார்க்க வேண்டிய நேரம் 23. இன்றைய சீட்டெழுப்புக்கான இரண்டாவது வெற்றி இலக்கமாக தெரிவு செய்யப்பட்டுள்ளது. 4 வெற்றி இலக்கங்களில் 2 வெற்றி இலக்கங்களை பார்த்துவிட்டோம். தொடர்ந்தும் 3வது வெற்றி இலக்கத்தை பார்க்கலாம்.